Plenty of news in racing during the week. The big highlight on Wednesday, the Australian-made stakes, formerly the William Reid. Hariba beaten into second placing. But if anything, the shine is a little brighter than it was before the race. He is a very special horse. Keith Hillier's back. Good on you. Keith, well, I have seen you. I saw you at the tennis, didn't I?
That's right, Bruce. Yes, we've been in recess, but racing hasn't. We've seen some very good performance, the exciting return of Mahogany too. And in New Zealand yesterday, in the Wellington Cup, Castletown won his third Wellington Cup. That hasn't been done for 30 years since Great Sensation. It was his fourth run in the race. He's 7. We won't see him in Australia again, but it's a marvellous performance, wasn't it?
Outstanding, and the reception he received after winning was like winning a Wellington Cup in New Zealand, like winning a Melbourne Cup here. It was just great. Now, you mentioned Mahogany. Mahogany Max Presnell's back with us from the Sydney Morning Herald. Max, he is a good horse, this Mahogany, isn't he?
Yes, top of the morning to you, Bruce. Mahogany certainly is a good horse. I'm surprised that you haven't got a video replay taken from last year when I said Mahogany could well be the best sprinter in the land. I do recall you held me to ridicule after he won the Derby, and you said, well, there you go. This man, or this mug, said that he could have won the Gadsden.
I've never called you a mug, not to your face anyway, Max.
Well, I think you're a mug bailing off Mahogany when he won the Derby, Max, to be frank.
Oh, to be frank, yeah. Well, to be frank, Keith, I had a look at him run at Moonee Valley the week before, and that's what I didn't think that Mahogany was a stayer. I still perhaps have my doubts whether he's a top-class stayer, but I do know this. Mahogany is an outstanding racehorse and will give a terrific showing over any journey, and I think he's proved that.
Well, we all make predictions. Some are right and some are wrong, and if you predict that Mahogany might be our best horse, you may be right, but I think there's one thorn, and that's the horse you admire, Golden Sword. He's going to be a very good horse this autumn.
When they get together, it's going to be interesting. Have you been in a good mood at all in the last 4 weeks, Max?
Yes, well, I have been, and the reason is I've been watching you and Wendy Turnbull and you and Steffi Graf. Now, if anybody's not in a good mood after that, they're beyond help.
Well, you said it, Max. Hey, we'll go to the races yesterday, the Zettertave Stakes. A pattern of racing was to be near the lead.
Yes, a strange day of racing at Sandown, Bruce. 5 successive races were won by the front runner, and there was a shower of rain, quite a heavy shower before the day, and there's some excuses too, as we'll see in the Zettertave Stakes with the riders of Pride of Rancho, Trista Love and Poetic King all claiming that at some stage of the race their mounts slipped.
Well, Super Act led early. Royal Rubiton's about to move up to second. A couple of the outsiders were behind them in third and fourth placings, but a lot of the fancied runners got back a bit, didn't they? Poetic King was 5th, but Port Watch well back. He's back about 5th last the rail. Voting with the nose rolls back about 4th last, and Pride of Rancho's absolute at this stage.
Well, this race, by modern standards, had a modest prize of $60,000, yet it attracted a great field, but I doubt its merit as a form race because so many were disadvantaged by not being able to pull ground on this biased track yesterday.
You see Trista Love with the white bridle back about 7th on the rail. Now, Super Act looks as if he's under some pressure from Royal Rubiton. Trying to get to them as Poetic King. Just hangs in a bit, I think, in the last little bit. Voting was struggling to make ground. Pride of Rancho runs on very strongly. Kicks now Super Act, and he's able to hold on. Poetic King does take some ground off him in the last bit.
Well, the 3 going to the post there, Super Act has won 4 out of 5, and the ones who chased him, Poetic King and Royal Rubiton, were unbeaten until yesterday.
How does that form, do you think, I know it was a bit confusing yesterday, how did that measure up with the horses like Hariba that we've seen earlier on and Mahogany? That'd be a cut above them, wouldn't they?
These are sprinters only. Hariba may be up to a mile, up to 1,600 metres, but they're a cut above them for sure. But these are that's a pretty slick lot collectively yesterday. Looking
towards the Guineas voting, John Maher's got an enormous opinion of. Probably wasn't suited yesterday, getting back and not first up. Your impressions on him?
Made a bit of a dart, but you couldn't make ground. Forget the run of voting. He's a very good horse. He won the Sandown Guineas, and he'll be one of the fancied runners in the Australian Guineas.
Max, any thoughts from that race yesterday?
Well, it seems incredible to me, although I suppose it is the trend in racing these days, that you're talking about a biased track on a good surface. A shower of rain and you get a biased track. Oh, I don't know. I would love to say it's distinctly Melbourne, but it ain't, because it does happen in Sydney, but I don't think you can take much notice of that form. I thought I would want to back Poetic King tomorrow in a rerun. He certainly didn't have the breaks, but nevertheless, I do think he was probably fitter than the likes of Voting. And again, as Keith said, I don't think you can get carried away with that form. Some very promising horses in the race, some that will undoubtedly improve. Our Tristalove is a bit of a worry. She's, excuses for her yesterday, apparently she slipped and slid, but she's put in a lot of bad ones since the last good one, so I'm just a little bit worried about the filly.
The other point, I think, from yesterday's meeting at Sandown, Bruce, was the win of Fluoro, the David Hayes trained filly, and after that win he virtually labelled her as his top hope in the Blue Diamond, and I think she probably deserves that ranking. She's very good. She's
a flying machine. The query will be whether she'll have the strength to hold horses off in the last 100. Max, the satellite, tell us about this. Clan O'Sullivan having his first start since he was beaten in the Moya by Scalacci a long time ago. He shows great pace. Classic Magic, who's been in terrific form, is able to hold him out, and Flitter was a great run at the back, and I haven't mentioned the winner, who gets a beautiful run all the way.
Yes, that's the key to it. Roanoke Boy had a beautiful sit on the rail just behind the pace. Now, Clan O'Sullivan outside the leader, first run in around 15 months, is going too fiercely. He needed the match practice, looked very well in himself, very healthy. He's had 7 chips taken out of 2 legs, but certainly it wasn't his legs that were playing up yesterday, it was the fact that he was too fresh. You can notice here, he wants to go faster, he won't be controlled, he'll be a lot better for that run, and if he stays sound, he'll win races. But along the rail, Roanoke Boy, Larry Cassidy, very much the form jockey in Sydney at present, takes a beautiful run, and right up the extreme outside of the picture, Flitter. Now, Roanoke Boy's come home in something like 33.8. What has Flitter run a last 600 metres in? A little short, they said after the race. Yeah, 3 strides short. A terrific run, and Flitter is going to be a force in whatever she runs in. But Max Lees is going to dodge the Doncaster. He's looking for easier races, and there is a top-class mare. Yet he's going to steer clear of the likes of Golden Sword, perhaps Mahogany. And there's others too, Never Undercharged.
Was she at the back by accident or design, Max?
That's
she was last to the home turn.
Now, that's how she races, Keith. An 1100-metre race, short of a best. That's how she races. That's where you expected her to be. A lot of punters thought she just might have been a little closer at the finish.
Let's go back to Wednesday, because it was the race of the week, the Australian-made stakes. A lot of controversy surrounding it. Hariba looked the best of good things beaten. It was a shocking day in Melbourne, so windy and hot. He misses the kick. He's back absolute now. Alanon shows tremendous pace to lead. Scalacci got away well. Now watch Hariba, second last, and Keith, this was the key in the next 200 metres to the race.
Well, Michael Clark aboard Hariba took off here, sailed Hariba into the wind, and Hariba's running up now to sit outside the leader. And that's a role that Hariba, soon you'll note, is not happy with. The head goes into the air, the mouth wide open, and Hariba not happy sitting outside the leader.
Lady Jackie-O's 5th, so we've got Alanon leading Hariba, Scalacci outside Primacy, the 2 great handicapped sprinters and weight for age, particularly in Scalacci's case. Lady Jackie-O inside March Hare, and Poetic Prince at the back.
Now, Hariba is seemingly coasting here on the outside of Alanon, and maybe that influenced Michael Clark now to scoot to the front. Moonee Valley has the shortest straight in Australasian metropolitan racing, but it's an uphill climb and one of the toughest. Hariba scoots away, seemingly home. Lady Jackie-O, that's her on the outside of the 3 chasing. Watch her finish.
Lady Jackie-O out wide, flashing home. Hariba in front. Lady Jackie-O lunges, got up. Lady Jackie-O, the filly, has tipped out Hariba in the last stride. Primacy 3rd, then Scalacci, followed by Alanon.
I think the thing to come out of the race is that Hariba's every bit as good as we thought he was. Lady Jackie-O was great, by the way, and Primacy was excellent, and Scalacci looked a touch big.
Lady Jackie-O, well, she won the Blue Diamond. She's a quality filly. Put the same set down next week, and I'd lay long odds on Hariba. But he did pass the test. That was his weight for age debut. He's going to be very good, and if he runs in the Australian Cup, or in the Guineas,
1600.
It'll be a fantastic clash there.
I think they should keep him for the sprints. I think he's a speed horse. I'd like to see him in the Lightning and the Newmarket. Max, very briefly, because we almost out of time, your thoughts on Hariba?
Hariba, very good. We've always said he was very good. My thoughts are, don't back him in future. There's going to be no value in Hariba in future. He's going to have plenty of competition. I wouldn't be surprised if he won, but I think taking even money, 10 to 9 on against the class of horse he's going to be up against, well, you may, Bruce, but I certainly won't be.
OK, Max, fair enough. I was going to ask Max whether Mahogany could beat Hariba over 1200, but I'll leave it.
Silly question.
Thought we'd cut your microphone off. See you, Max. Next week.
I hope so.
And I'll see you soon too.
Good on you, Keith. Good punting, Keith. And by the way, in Scotland overnight, the most amazing thing in a steeplechase, and hopefully we might get some vision. We don't know at the moment, but a horse fell, the jockey fell off, got back into the saddle and got up and won. An amazing incident's just come through on the wires. A break coming up. Another amazing man. He's got some good stories, this fella. J.A., tennis.
That's the match. Pete Sampras is into the final.
Game, set, and match.
That's it.